Are you the win? Here are my top picks for the new Saga Sector, not Angela. So if you don't want to use Angela, these are my top picks. But before I do, I want to give you guys some important messages. So make sure you go to your inbox. On your mail, there's rewards from Kabam. Okay, so make sure you collect them. You have 30 days to collect them, or less than 30 days. So for a second, I was actually worried that we were not going to hit the final milestone, which I said I guarantee will hit 38 billion. So then I told myself, nah, I'm not worried. Kabam will find a way to give us more points, just like they did from the Battle Realm event and the Crystal Realm event, okay? And what do you know? Kabam has given us extra points. Is that a surprise to you? Not to me. So there you go. Just make sure you collect them. You have less than 30 days to do so. So let's talk about another important thing is when it comes to incursion hacks. So let's go to that first before I give you guys my top picks for champions. So in here, you're gonna have, what is that? 5 choices, right? So I don't know whoever came up with this. It's definitely terrible for sure. So basically, you get these 5 choices for the first hack. So let's say I pick title combat, which you want to pick with this team with, what is that? Scream and Morbius. So as you see, you're not going to see title combat here again, okay? Because you already picked it. So now, I strongly suggest you don't pick the same ones from the first hack. See, the first 4 here are in the same, was in the first hack, okay? It's the first 4, it's in order, so that's good. So don't pick any of this, okay? The reason why you don't want to pick any of this, I know a lot of people pick Defense Cascade. Why you don't want to pick any of this is because of, this is the reason why. So I'm just finishing a fight against Invisible Woman. So after this, we'll see the Zone 4 hacks. So let's see. We're going to look at the hacks for Zone 4. As you will see, they're only giving you, what is that, 4 choices. Pretty much with the first hack. So whoever came up with this is just, it was so poorly made. It's ridiculous, you know? So let's say you pick Defense Cascade in this case, since you only have, what, 4 choices. Zone 8 is going to be, for the first hack, it's going to be the same thing. So you pick Defense Cascade already. Let's say you pick Defense Cascade. When you go to Zone 8, you're only going to have these 3 choices left. So that's it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just that whoever came up with this, it's just so bad. Okay? And I think it has to do with this. So I made a video before this. I said do not do Saga Sector right now. It's because of this. Maybe it has something to do with that. The weird way they're setting up the hacks for limited hacks that we're getting. I think it's because of this. When it comes to milestone 35. That's why I said that why you should wait until this thing, we unlock this thing. But I do think you do have to have at least 115,000 points to unlock it. I'm not really sure. It's probably gonna take, I say, within 10 days, probably maybe even a week, but I would say at least a week and maybe 10 days by the time we hit this 13 million milestone. And definitely thanks to Kabam's giving us extra points for the Summer Fest, we're gonna get that faster than sooner than late, sooner than we expected. So that's really good. So it's definitely gonna take probably at least a week, maybe 10 days by the time we reach this milestone. So I know this video is not supposed to be about Angela, but again, let me repeat. I know I didn't say this in my top picks for the new Saga Sector, but I've said this plenty of times in the past. I would rather have a max 6-star than not awaken 7-star rank 4 Angela because of this. So this is Bryce Barsham. He missed the dex from Cosmic Ghost Rider Special 1. That's why he has Incinerate on. And you're thinking, what happened? Isn't Angela immune to damage over time? Well, she could if she was awakened, but not if she's not awakened. And he ended up dying here, which is unfortunate. I mean, it is what it is. Let me just show you guys, just in case if you don't know. So let me go to my champions, Angela. Just in case you don't know how important her signature ability is, it's really one of the most important synergy in the game. I mean, synergy, awaken ability. Like one of the best awakening ability in the game. I think minimum top five for sure. So for each buff on Angela, her opponent suffers the following. So if you have three buffs on you, that's basically the three Odin free fights. You're gonna become immune to damage over time. Okay, and then she could be pretty much immune to nullify as well, and can counter auto block. So really, really just powerful signature ability in the game. I think that's why you want her. You want her awakened, preferably at max sig. Really, even sig 100 is good enough if you have three Odin free fights. So that's definitely what you want to have for Angela. So this is Super Striker. Okay, he committed a double sin. I have no idea why he did this, but so first he didn't he using a rank 1 Angela, okay, 7 star, not awaken. Okay, not only that, he doesn't have Odin synergy with him. Okay, like that's just like I would not recommend using unawaken Angela. Okay, and I would not recommend uh what do you call this without Odin synergy. Her awaken ability is so important in Incursion. Without it, she cannot solo every fight in Incursion. She can't solo Biohazard, maybe Cow Drop she can, but it's not going to be easy, of course. Icarus, um, Freezer Burn, any of these champions that inflict damage over time, that she's not going to be immune to any of them because she's an awakened. So I get this, I think a lot of it has to do with social media being influenced. Oh, I have to use a 7 star because I have this champion as a 7 star. Okay. If Hercules comes out a 7 star and you have him a rank 1 or even, or whatever rank and he's an awaken, don't use the 7 star Hercules. If he's an awaken, use the 6 star, max sig the 6 star. Okay. This is just one of those situations like I think a lot of it has to do with social media being influenced, having to use 7 star. Keep in mind, a 6 star rank 5, not ascended, is a higher rank than a 7 star rank 1. Okay, a 6 star rank 4, you know, ascended Angela will be a higher rank than a 7 star rank 1. Even if you're using a 6 star rank 4, like Sig 100, it's going to be better than unawakened 7 star rank 1 Angela because like I said, she'll be able to counter like champions that have damage over time or can inflict damage over time. So really you should be using an awakened Angela, preferably at max sig if you're gonna bring Angela in Incursion. And of course Odin synergy. Without Odin synergy, you're really just using only 1% of her power, maybe even less, depending how far you go in Incursion. So some amazingly, he soloed the fight with a rank 1 not awakened Angela without Odin synergy. Okay, and look at that, zone 12. Okay, for her to solo fight with in zone 12 with a rank 1 unawakened without Odin is to show you the how good Angela is even without Odin, but yet you only see like 1% of Angela's power without Odin synergy. What do I mean by that? Let me just show you. So if you don't believe me, this is a 5 star Angela with a 3 star Thor relic. This is my highest damage in Incursion, and I know for a fact that she could have done this. She could have done more than this. Okay, this is a 5 star Angela with a 3 star Thor relic. Keep that in mind. 5 star Angela with a 3 star Thor relic, doing over 345 million damage. And you can see by this the Hercules PI, it's really not even that far in Incursion. And the more fights she wins, the stronger she gets. So without a doubt, she could do over more than this for sure. And just think about it. Without Odin synergy, I would be surprised if she can do 1% of that damage, which is pretty much 3.5 million. Okay, with a 5-star and 3-star Loki, a 3-star Thor relic. Okay, this is pre-nerf hacks. Just keep that in mind though. But even with pre-nerf hacks, I don't think Angela can do this damage. Okay, so let me just show you why. Just use Angela. The end. Okay, let me just show you why Angela is the best champion in Incursion, and we'll move to other champions if you don't want to use her. Okay, just give me if you don't think Angela is the best champion in Incursion, take a look at this. This guy, I don't know if there's more. I thought I like Incursion. I guess this guy likes Incursion more than me. I never would imagine that. But look at this. Double Angela all the way to zone 15. Okay? Just using Angela. Like I said, Angela can solo every fight in Incursion if you have the right hacks. And look at this. Okay? Double Angela all the way to zone 15. If you and the funny part is, like I said, this you want to subscribe to this person. His YouTube channel is named MCOC Incursion. I think this guy likes Incursion more than me. The funny thing about this guy is, look at this. That's one, that's two, that's three, that's four. Wait, what? No. Yeah, one, two, three, and four. He went to zone 15 4 times at least. Okay, and you should subscribe to him. This person is YouTube channel's MCOC Incursion. So supposedly he carries people in Incursion for free. He does it for free. I don't know why you would do it for free. I thought I like Incursion, but this person likes Incursion more than me. Okay, 4 times Incursion. That is crazy. Okay, at least. Okay, and the crazy part, like the crazy part about Angela is this is just a tiny fraction of Angela's power. Okay, the weird part about Angela is I think I don't know which one, but this one I think had a linked. She even takes on like linked degen node. Okay, so the crazy part about Angela is when it comes to her, the higher the zone you go, the easier it is. The fights become easier. Same thing with Hela for obvious reasons, but with Angela, the higher zones you go, the easier it is for her. So why is that? It's because so the opponents obviously the more higher you go, the higher the health of the opponent is, right? But so is Angela. The more fights you win with Odin Synergy as a team, she gets stronger every fight. So she's able to match the opponent's health. Not only that, really the biggest part is her regen. Like I was able. It's one of my videos. I've shown it at least once, but or probably at least twice. But I have a video of Angela out regen aspect of nightmares. Okay, not minor aspect of nightmares, aspect of nightmares. So you lose 50% health in 12 seconds. She was able to out regen that. Okay, and she's also able to out regen link degen when you go far enough in Incursion where you lose 3% health. So when it comes to minor aspect of nightmares, why I think she's better when the farther you go in Incursion. Let's say you have 10% health left, right, and you ran into aspect of nightmares. That is the end of the run. There's no way to avoid it with Angela. I mean, there's no way to get over it with Angela if you're in the earlier zones. But the farther you go, she's able to regen more than the health you lose from aspect of nightmares. I think the most I've ever regen so far is like 7% health per second. And she could regen more than that, of course, if she wanted to. The further you go in Incursion, the more regens she's going to get. And like, think about the link degen. You lose 3% health per second. Okay. And like I said, the most I've ever had so far is 7% health per second regen. So you're really gaining 4% health every second with a link degen node. So depending on, you want to carry your friend, she can out regen link degen. You want to take your friend to like zone 100 or something, she's able to out regen link of degen, which is crazy. Okay, no more Angela. Okay, so let's talk about other champions in this. So as you notice, I pick Tide of Combat for the first one, and you want to use, especially the team I have, you want to use Hemostatic Charge. Come on. Ah, come on. Jeez, give me a second. Okay, so you want to pick this hack right here. Hemostatic Charge. They go really, really well together with Tidal Combat. I know Tidal Combat has been nerfed. As I mentioned in my other video, some people have been making comments, is Incursion harder? No, because they nerf Tidal Combat to the ground, which is unfortunate. But let's look at some gameplay. So I thought about just doing this a million times with these champions I have to show you some gameplay with them. But I think, like I said, they nerfed the hacks, and I don't really have high ranked champions to be trying it a million times to show you some gameplay. So instead, I'm going to show you gameplay from other section. So I just want to remind you, these are pre-nerf hacks, but I am using a 4-star Morbius. So I really recommend you to use minimum 6-star rank 5 Ascended to do Incursion. And you really want Morbius to be awakened. So I don't see a way, or, oh, I don't know the right word. I don't see any way that even though they nerf some hacks to the ground, I don't see how a 4-star, not Ascended, could do more damage than a 6-star rank 5 Ascended Morbius. Obviously, you can use a 7-star rank 3, but you definitely want to have the Awakened version for sure, at least Awaken. Okay? So let's look at some gameplay. So keep in mind, look at his health. So most of your opponents, if you're only going to zone 15, you're not going to see more than a million health pool, barely over past that. So this is pretty much close to zone 15 in Saga Sector health wise. So let's see some gameplay. So I'm using a 4-star, but keep in mind this is nerf. These are before they nerf the hacks, okay? So, but if you're using a 6-star rank 5 Ascended Morbius, you should be having similar damage to this, okay? His health pool is just over a million, okay? Just take a look at the damage he does on his special 2, okay? And you look at the power sting, how much the power sting did. I couldn't really tell. It was hard to tell, but it's probably the next one that does more. I think it does like 400,000, something like that. But keep in mind, this is a 4-star. I didn't see it. Let me know if you've seen it, but I think it was like 400,000 from the power sting. Did you see that? This is a 4-star, by the way. Okay. Ah, oh, we can't see it. But it's over a million. You'll see it. He did more damage on that last hit on the special 2 than Captain America's health pool. So I think the total damage I did is like 1.6 million, just over that. Now unless you're using fighting against Rintra in zone 15, you're not gonna see 1.6 million health. Okay, I don't even know if Rintra can reach 1.6 million in zone 15. So this is pre-nerf, but at the same time, I'm only using a 4-star. So I don't see how 6-star rank 5 Ascended Morbius, cannot do that much damage, okay? 6-star rank 5 Morbius, 6-star rank 5 Ascended is more than 4 times stronger than a 4-star. Let me repeat, 6-star rank 5 Ascended is more 4 times stronger than a 4-star not Ascended. So these are the hacks I'm using. So keep in mind, I do have Tidal Combat and Hemostatic. You want to have those two. Like I mentioned, when it comes to Tidal Combat, it's been nerfed to the ground. If you've seen it, I had 20 Furies with Tidal Combat. You're just not going to see that anymore. It's been nerfed, and we're going to talk about the hacks a little bit later. So Keep It Going has also been nerfed to the ground, and you won't have access to perpetual offense. Okay, keep that in mind. You won't have access to perpetual offense. These are also other things I have is good to have. Increased potency of the power sting is good to have. I think I have that. So these are not bad. I think these hacks will help you. Again, perpetual offense is not there anymore. So this is the hack I'm using with Scream. Okay. So again, hemostatic. Bob Cornucopia has been nerfed, but not like nerfed to the ground, I would say, at least for most champion. Title Combat, as I mentioned, has been nerfed to the ground, but keep in mind, for this one, I'm using, these are pre-nerf hacks. These are before they nerf the hacks, keep that in mind, but I'm using a 5-star, not ascended, okay? And this guy's health pool, as you can see by the PI at least, it's higher than Zone 15 boss, okay? So you're gonna be able to take this. If you have a 6-star rank 5 ascended, really preferably at max Sig 2, Scream, 6-star rank 5 ascended, you definitely gonna do fine with her with the hacks I'm about to tell you. But let's look at some gameplay first. Ay caramba, you see that? Crazy damage, crazy damage, crazy damage. So there you go. See, if it was against Bleed Immune champion, I would prefer using Scream over Morbius. Technically, Morbius can still take that fight if you have him awaken and preferably at max Sig. But I would use Scream if you're going up against a Bleed Immune champion. So this is Scream gameplay. This is the pre-nerf hacks, just reminder, but I'm using a 5-star not ascended. 6-star rank 5 ascended Scream has more than twice the attack of this champion right here. And if you're using like a 7-star rank 4, it'll be like more than 3 times the attack of this champion. So I just don't see how you cannot do close to this damage if you're using a much higher ranked champion. So let's go to the game. So let's look at the champions for the Saga Sector. Reminder, if you're trying to look for the Saga Sector champions, you want to press this button right here, the 4 symbol. Okay? So let's use a 6-star. Okay, so if you're not going to use Angela, I think Morbius is great. Uh, I think Sentry Diablo. I've seen people use Diablo. I think he's gonna be good. I like Morbius personally. Sentry I think is good, but just not my type of play style. But I think he's good, especially if you have an Awaken and preferably at max Sig because of his signature ability. And when you have second chance with this guy, you can go a very long way when you combine with his signature ability. So Sentry is good, but not my playstyle. Maybe not yours, maybe yours or not, but that for me not my playstyle. Uh Tigra, I feel like Tigra can be good if you know how to use her because there's definitely she can do a lot of things in the game if you know how to use her. I think Captain Marvel can be good as well. Uh so Thing is usually very good for Incursion, but uh if you're only going to zone 15, then I would not recommend him for Saga Sector because usually he at least zone 15 you're gonna see uh his benefit from his signature ability, and you want him awakened preferably at max Sig. So he's basically triggering his protection. So especially if you're running damage mastery, it's so good with him because you just keep constantly regenning when you have damage liquid courage. So yeah, I definitely want him awakened prepared max Sig when it comes to Incursion. But if you're only going to zone 15, I do not recommend Thing. Sandman, like I said before, this guy is really good if you have the right hacks. Title Combat has been nerfed, but I think even he's still gonna be good with Title Combat. I think when it comes to Sandman. And when it comes to Red Skull, I know a lot of people use Red Skull. So when it comes to Red Skull, he has an ability for his armor up buffs. Okay? When it comes to his armor up buffs, he can gain up to 10 of them. So when it comes to Defense Cascade, he can just cheese them. He can do infinite stun with Defense Cascade if you have Defense Cascade and plus 50% stun duration. You pretty much, unless there's nodes that can slowly, like, reduce the stun, like Tenacity, Stun Immune, Healthy Disposition, I believe that's the name of it. Okay, Mordo too, if you fight Mordo, then it's not gonna work. But it pretty much you can infinite stun most champions with Red Skull with Defense Cascade plus 50% stun duration. So I know, is this Phoenix or Dark Phoenix? That's Phoenix, right? So I'm actually surprisingly gallant in Incursion, but this is Cantona. I mean, Cantona is one of the best uh, players in the world, but and he is using a 7-star rank 4. I don't know, Awaken. I don't know if it's Sig 200, but an Awaken 6-star, 7-star rank 4 Gallon. Okay, so I don't know if you don't have a 7-star rank 4 Gallon, you might be good, but I've seen people use Gallon. I mean, I saw him use Gallon. Superior Iron Man. I think he's gonna be great for Incursion. Okay. Uh, with what is it? Title Combat. Even though it's nerf, I think he's still gonna be decent with it. Is it Title Combat? Not Title Combat. Buff Cornucopia has been nerfed, but I think he's still gonna be good with Buff Cornucopia when it comes to Superior Iron Man. OG Hyperion. He's been the OG when it comes to Incursion. He's always been good. I think Defense Cascade works really well with Hyperion. Buff Cornucopia, of course, because he gains a lot of buffs. I've seen a lot of people use Bastion. Bastion is great because he's 100% bleed resistant and poison resistant, so he can take on like Biohazard, like Cow Drops, or like Morningstar, or like Abomination and more Abomination. So it's really good for those fights. Count Nefaria, I've always thought Count Nefaria was good. Not even just Incursion, but in general, I think he's always been good. I've seen people use Count Nefaria. I'm not really sure what hacks he to be good with him. Of course, Second Chance is pretty much good for any champion. And what is this? I think Title Combat might be good for him. When it comes to Dark Phoenix, I knew she was going to be great for Incursion. It's because when it comes to Dark Phoenix, she has her immortality. She also has Safeguard. I do think that most people don't own her, so probably if you're watching this, you probably don't own her. If you do, let me know. Who else? I think Gore is. I've always said Gore could be great for Incursion. Uh, I think with Hemostatic and Title Combat, he's gonna be great with it. It reminds me of pretty much a combination of a lesser being of Morbius and what's her name? She's Spear Lady, skill champion as a spear. Come on, I know it. Give me a second. Let me pause the video. Yeah, this champion, Okoye. So Okoye is not in the Saga sector, keep that in mind. But when it comes to Gore, he reminds me of Okoye. And if Okoye and Morbius had a child, that is Gore. What's it? That is Gore. That reminds me of him. So Odin, of course, you want to use Odin with Angela. That's gonna be. I've seen people say Odin is decent for Incursion, but I never use him. So maybe he is. I'm not sure. I just used him for synergy with Angela. Oh, who else? Quicksilver could be good with Furyverse. Scream. I will talk more about Scream. And Silver Surfer. I heard he's good with Bob Cornucopia. He could be good. Who else? And Spider Woman. So I wish I have this champion. You know, when it comes to this champion, I think she could be better than Silk. When what is it during deep dive or something like that, I thought this chick is gonna be good for Incursion, and this is before they nerfed Title Combat. Okay, if I could have three choices in Incursion, if I have her, I would choose Spider Woman, Morbius, and Scream. Okay, if I had a choice to use, I would use Scream and Morbius. Okay, and Scream. That's the champion I would use. They just seem so perfect. Let's go to the game. Let's go to the hacks. Okay, let's go to champions I would use. I decided to go with this team: Morbius, and Scream. So the unfortunate part about Scream is she's only a 5-star. I don't recommend using 5-star in Saga Sector. Okay, unless you're using Angela, even Angela with the nerf hacks, they pretty much nerf the hacks designed for Angela in the game. So she's still good. That's how good she is. But I don't even recommend using 5-star Angela in Incursion. Okay, so if there is a 5-star, only Angela. Any champion, you should have at least, I would say, 6-star rank 5 ascended to do Saga Sector if you don't want to spend a lot of revives and units. But this is the team I would probably choose if it's not Angela. I think that's his name. I could bring Sentry instead of the 5-star. Okay, but look at this. This is all science. Okay, this is all science champion. Not only that, like I'm not a big fan of Sentry's play style, and not only that, she doesn't match well with the hacks of this one. So let's go to the second sector. So if you do have Spider Woman, I know a lot of people have used Spider Woman. Man, I just can imagine how good she would have been if they had a nerfed title combat. She would have been and special counter, by the way. So let me just tell you the hacks I would use. If pretend I have Spider Woman, that and instead of other Morbius, I would just that would be my team. So these are or that would be the best team. So I would pick title combat, and then let's pick title combat. That's my first hack. Okay, let's go to the next one. Then I would pick hemostatic charge. But let me mention something about special counter. This is actually pretty good for Spider Woman. It's not as good as it used to be because it's been nerfed to the ground. You used to get 3 prowess. Okay, they removed professional offense, but this for champions that can click power sting, this is a really good hack. Okay, I mean this could be arguably even the nerf version could arguably better than perpetual offense if you can inflict power sting. So Morbius doesn't inflict. Not many champions inflict power sting, but Spider Woman does. But you want to have hemostatic, okay? But with special counter, man, before they nerfed it, you were supposed to be able to get 3 instead of 1, okay? For power sting that triggers, and not only that, it didn't have a max stack of 10. You can get like 20 to 60, not 20 to 30 of them. So what's 30 times 50? What is it, guys? 1500% potency. You would get even just 20 prowess. You can get 20 prowess. That would be 1000%, 1000%. But they nerfed it to the ground. So I still think this is good because it works for all of them. Spider Woman as well, Scream and Morbius. But you do need to have hemostatic charge. What else I would choose? I would choose Fury Burst. That will increase your damage, and that will also increase the damage of hemostatic charge, because keep in mind this is modified attack. So having title combat is probably more important. But Fury Burst, I think if you combine Fury Burst and title combat, if you combine Fury Burst and title combat, it's pretty much equivalent to pre-nerf title combat, I would say. So that's really nice thing to have. If I would was gonna choose a hack, personally, I would just go. How many? You get 5 hacks, right? And you have to choose 3 hacks from the first 4. So I would choose special counter, title combat, and you have no choice. You have to pick another one from here. Then I would go with, yeah, I got no choice. I guess defense cascade. And the next one, I would just choose second chance for safety reasons. If you don't get it, I would go with Fury Burst. That will increase your damage, and that will also help you increase the hemostatic charge burst damage. So that's it. So again, the first 2 hacks, you want to use title combat and hemostatic charge. If you're using these champions, I wished I had Spider Woman. That would have been the perfect team. Not using Angela, they can pretty much counter any champion. And then you really, like I mentioned, when it comes to Morbius, you want him to be awakened and preferably at max 6. So let's do that. So you just need him really be awakened so he can counter, like he's great with damage mastery. Okay, so he's not gonna get knocked out if you have him awakened against with bleed, poison, what else? Bleed, poison, degen. and recoil too. She's not gonna get knocked out from recoil. I don't know what else besides that. Yeah, also at max sig he regens a lot more, especially if you're running damage mastery. That's why I like her. I like Morbius to be awakened and max sig. And basically, if your opponent's bleeding immune, he can still take on it if he's awakened, and the higher chance you'll inflict rupture if he's at max sig. So that's pretty much gonna be my team really. If I wish I had Spider Woman in my team, so and then Scream can take on, if you have Scream Awaken, preferably at max sig, you can take on like Spider Verse champion that has evade. So I really like this team a lot. If I had Spider Woman, I really would like it. So the only thing I say you have to worry about, because Morbius Awaken, he can take on like Biohazard, Caldrops, Incurus, Immortal Abomination, Morningstar, uh, Immortal Abomination. That's why you want him awakened, and then the rest could take the other champions. But there is a node you have to worry about. So you do have to worry about Freezer Burn, because I don't think Morbius Awakened Billy will work for Freezer Burn. So you're gonna get Incinerate or Cold Snap on you. So you have to worry about that. Be careful on that. Okay. So it's really not as bad as it used to. So it used to be, before they with what is it? They nerfed it. They used to be like, see, it says 15% of attackers max health. So before it used to be 50%, 15% of the opponent's attack. Okay, so back then they nerfed this node, or yeah, whatever it is called node. Before, back then, like you ran in a champion, if you're not immune to their damage over time, or 100% resistance, you're just going to be instant KO in like high, if you go really high in Incursion. So that's instant KO, so people would just use Hercules and Angela for this fight, So, so yeah, so this is the only problem I say, because you're gonna run into this somehow, and then you're just gonna lose health. But really, it does little damage, Silk pre-nerf, I don't know if you can still do that with Title Combat, but Title Combat with uh, Toxic Siphon still can easily out regen this node, because they nerfed it. And I don't know if she can still do it with the nerf Title Combat, but yeah, it's not a lot. Or again, if this is going to be a problem for you, just use Angela. The end. Thank you.